guys.
It's a bittersweet day.
This is our very last Torture Poets breakdown. We're officially on our 31st Torture Poets song.
Only took us a bloody year to get through.
I know! It pretty much did.
Pretty much.
Holy
Almost.
crap.
We're not in April yet, but...
No.
Wow, it's been a lot to digest, this
Yeah.
album, and thank you guys so much for coming along, breaking down every single song on the Torture Poets department. What an album.
What an album indeed.
It is truly incredible.
I think we can definitely say that even at the end of breaking down this album, we still haven't fully wrapped our heads around it. There will always be new things to discover about Taylor Swift songs as the days, months and years go on. But we're definitely all, I think, collectively a little closer to understanding what's going on in some of these songs and on the album as a whole. And it wouldn't have been possible without doing it here with you guys.
It's like the 2-year mark that I really feel like I fathom a Taylor Swift album.
I didn't understand Midnights until a few months ago.
Yeah, I know. I think especially once you get the new album, you then actually understand the previous album.
Yeah, so true.
So I think that, you know, another year on from now, we will really, really understand the Torture Poets department.
Yes, I agree.
And all of its mystery and magic and depth and emotion and storytelling.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
all of that storytelling comes to an end with the last song on the album, which is
The Manuscript. This really is the perfect album closer, I think. And something that I don't think we all talk about enough is that it actually is the only song on the anthology that, as a track, was announced with the main album. The day that we found out all the track names on the original album, we also knew about the manuscript, because originally it was going to be, I guess, from how the public perceived it, the only bonus track available on a physical edition of the album.
You're right.
Until she then went on to announce the Bolter, the Black Dog and the Albatross, and then obviously surprise dropped a double album. But for a time there, we thought it was Fortnight to Clarabow and the manuscript. And that's it. And I think that that's really fascinating, because I think that even without all of those other songs in between on the anthology, she's really told us with that information that this song is a summary, not just of what we actually believe the song to be written about, but also kind of a summary of the album as a whole, or at least it touches on the feelings and the emotions of this album.
Yes, I completely agree. We always knew we wanted to start with Fortnight and finish with the manuscript, because we feel like those bookends are so important, and although it's been really fun to break these songs down out of order as a change, I feel like you can't change where the story starts and where the story begins. So where the story starts and where the story ends, and just Taylor does such a perfect job of opening and closing her albums. We had to keep that the same.
Yeah, absolutely. We really, really did.
So, of course, that's the last song that we're breaking down today.
Yeah.
This song is so special because not only does it touch on this album, but it links us back to a previous song, which we believe is All Too Well, and the All Too Well film, and kind of tells us the journey of her relationship with that song in a way, and where it's kind of come to, and how that is reminiscent, I think, of the heartbreak that she experienced on this album. A lot of times we've compared Torture Poets to Red. I mean, it essentially is, it's the only breakup album since Red. So it has those similarities. And so it makes a lot of sense that she's kind of comparing those heartbreaks.
Yes. I think when we did our very first Torture Poets ranking video after the album came out, I said in that video that I needed more time with this song, because I think there might be more to it than it just being a reflection on All Too Well, Red, and the short film. But I think with time, what I've come to realize is that it really is that. It is that, but exactly as you said, I think because of that connection between Red and Torture Poets as two breakup albums, I think writing about heartbreak is something that Taylor does best, and is obviously something that has really helped her move through emotion and experiences in her life. And so it really is a perfect telling of everything that Red has become and what All Too Well has become, with revisiting the album to do Taylor's version and making the short film, and maybe reprocessing the heartbreak that she explores in an album like Red. But it also helps maybe put into perspective the heartbreak that she felt on the Torture Poets department. And I think it's so special to summarize it in that way.
But I think also there's an element of this song that really speaks to her relationship with the fans and with music and with putting out music and how it changes over time, what it becomes to the people listening to that music, and how it's all part of her purpose on this earth, really. Like, that's how deep this song is. It's like, it's really reflecting on that pain and why it's important, why it's worth it.
Yeah. So true.
To have what she has now, which is this catalogue of incredible music and a crazy connection with her fans, and just like such a journey that she's been on. Yeah. And I think the re-recording of the music absolutely has re-brought that out, and it's been like beautiful to see that happen while she's also making new music. This is why it's so great that we've gotten new songs in between the re-records, is because we get songs like this.
So true. So true. No, you're right. I think that the reminding herself of how her own stories have changed because of how people have received them and the way it's made them or us feel, I think is also something that is a constant reminder to her to be more open and vulnerable with her songwriting. And I think that Tortured Poets as an album is the most vulnerable songwriting she's ever written to date. And I think that the reality of that, and I think maybe the courage to do that, is held in a song like this.
Absolutely.
It's knowing that she can because it will be received so well. This song is actually...
It's superior.
It could be one of the best album closers today. Yeah. It really could. It really could.
It absolutely could. I think the meaning behind it is just so special. It's one of those songs that really, it takes a lot to build to, but once you get to that meaning and you get to the unlocking of that story, it's so powerful and it's so meaningful. It's for the fans. It's really for the fans, this one.
Oh yeah, this song makes so much sense to you when you know all the lore.
Yes.
It's really quite heartbreaking and slow, and just like, it actually feels like it's stopping time. This song feels like time has stopped.
You're right.
Now and then she rereads the manuscript of the entire torrid affair. They compared their licenses. He said, I'm not a donor, but I'd give you my heart if you needed it. She rolled her eyes and said, you're a professional. He said, no, just a good Samaritan. He said that if the sex was half as good as the conversation was, soon they'd be pushing strollers. But soon it was over.
All the violin, soft.
Oh, there's so much space between, and I guess it's like a verse 1 and a verse 2.
It really is just a verse 1, verse 2, and then a bridge.
It kind of is. There's no real chorus. No, there's no chorus in this song. Of course there isn't. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Love that music in between the verses, that space
beautiful.
It gives us. God, this song is written in such an interesting way, because I guess you don't really actually get to, you know, the processing and the refathoming of All Too Well and Red and all of that until the bridge. Yeah. At the beginning, she's kind of just retelling the story of the relationship that inspired it. And that is so fascinating. It's like the perfect way to do this storytelling. And she's telling us so much, but bringing up the most obscure little moments.
Yes, it's very specific, this song. Yes. Very specific. But I do feel like those first 2 lines are kind of the ones that get us into that retelling. So it's like, now and then she rereads the manuscript of the entire torrid affair, and then we go into it.
Yes, it's like we kind of start reading the story, and she kind of immediately starts us off with the fact that this is very much so past tense. Yeah. This is a story from the past. Yes. Which is a really fucking perfect way to do it.
And I love that she starts with she, which she does a lot on this album, talking about herself, you know, in third person, from a distance. She hasn't associated herself with this person yet. I love that it's now and then as well, because it's like now and then I think back to that, but also it could be now and then I listen to the songs or play the songs. Like the manuscript could be a metaphor for her songs and for the writing of those songs.
Yes.
And I love that as well, because like a manuscript is like usually the first draft.
Yes. Yes.
Which we know All Too Well particularly had a lot of drafts and was a song that she worked on for a long time to kind of get right. And then there was obviously the 10-minute version.
Yeah.
So it's like a song that's really had a lot of versions of it, but she remembers the original feeling and the original manuscript.
Yeah.
Torrid affair as well is such a good word.
Yeah, I actually would really like to look up the actual definition of torrid. Full of difficulty.
Full of difficulty indeed.
Yes.
Torrid affair.
Yeah.
Such a great word.
They compare their licenses. He said, I'm not a donor, but I'd give you my heart if you needed it. What I kind of get from this first verse is almost like maybe one of their first dates. Like they really don't know each other very well.
Yeah. For some reason they have their licenses out.
And normally you do have like if you're like an organ donor, that will be on your driver's license in case you're sort of, killed accidentally and someone needs to ID you. They can also see if you have allowed your organs to be donated and stuff.
Yeah, so they're making like a joke, like he's like, I'm not a donor, but I give you my heart if you needed it. Like a corny kind of...
Yeah, like almost like a pickup line kind of thing, or like just something to kind of like, she rolled her eyes and said, you're a professional.
Yeah.
He said, no, just a good Samaritan. It's like this cheeky, playful, flirty banter between them.
Yes.
And like, it is kind of like a smart thing to say. It's like, I'm not a donor, but I give you my heart if you need it.
Yes.
It's like, okay.
And I do love that she says professional as well, because if we're talking about Jake Gyllenhaal, he is a professional actor.
Yes.
Which is a nice tie to him. She's like, oh, you're just acting kind of thing. Like you're a professional at playing this kind of game or whatever.
Yeah.
But also just maybe a professional like pickup kind of
guy.
Yeah,
picking up girls. Totally.
Like a bit of a playboy.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, like you've done this before. You know exactly what to say to make a girl swoon.
Totally.
And it's so fascinating that she brings up this story about comparing licenses and this very minimal sort of back and forth, and you already have this image of him as being this charming, like knows exactly what to say kind of man. Amazing that she thought to use this example to showcase that.
And the next lyric is really interesting as well, if he actually said this out loud to her.
Yeah, you're right.
He said that if the sex was half as good as the conversation was, soon they'd be pushing strollers.
This is another line that actually makes me think that it's very early on too, because it's almost like he's saying, we don't know what the sex is like yet, but if it is good, we could be together forever, we could have babies, all of that. That's a lot to say.
It is a lot to say. It's giving Maddie Healy.
It's kind of giving love bombing. Really. Like, it's a very intense thing to say to somebody that you don't know very well.
Yeah. I actually think I struggle to understand the undertone of this line, and if she is saying it because she felt like it was a predatory thing to say, or a manipulative thing to say, or just a weird thing to say, or if it was all in good fun.
The way that I take this line is I think that there's a few different things that she says throughout this song that indicate that he was a little problematic.
Yeah.
And I think part of the magic of this song is the revisiting that relationship with so much growth and hindsight, because what she tells us about this relationship and this man is not at all how she paints him out to be in Red.
No.
Because she was that young in Red.
Yeah.
So all she could see with this man that she looked up to and who broke her heart. But now that she is that age that he was or whatever, she can see why things were a little weird or off.
Yeah,
and so I think that she's brought this up because it's weird and off.
Yeah, I agree. Yes. And there's other lyrics that she says as well that are the same. Like, it's kind of like she's saying them very matter-of-factly.
Yeah.
But you can see that it's a weird thing to say, or it's an off thing to say.
Yeah.
And I think especially that lyric, there's kind of a lot of double meaning in it, because even her just saying like soon it was over, kind of implying that the sex wasn't good. Whether or not that came from her or from him is not clear, but it kind of, to me, gives the energy that maybe he wasn't satisfied with that, or that she felt not good enough for him in some sort of way.
Yeah, it's interesting that you do link that to the sex being good or not good, because that makes perfect sense. Obviously, it's a line that comes after, but I've never made that connection. I think I've always thought of it more just like he kind of in some way promised forever, because he promised babies, but actually it didn't last long at all.
Yes.
Because it kind of maybe was love bombing. He was charming, but didn't actually take me seriously enough to commit to me. And that's why it ended so quickly.
Because I don't know if I necessarily take it that either, meaning whether or not the sex was good, but it could just be soon it was over. Like, we didn't even get a chance.
It's like, can you believe how quickly it ended, given this is what he had said to me on one of our first dates?
Why these first two verses, they feel a bit flat in a way, in my opinion. They feel purposefully delivered in a bit of a nonchalant,
there's
flat
no emotion
way. Yeah, the emotion doesn't really start to the bridge, because I think that's what's important to her.
Blurting out random facts that just tell us everything we need to know about who he actually was. And you're right, the emotion doesn't come to the bridge, because what's important is the art she made because of him, not him. He was never the special part of it. It's such a fascinatingly written song.
Yeah, it is fascinating for that reason. It's all the beginning part is not what's important about this song. It's all to just build you to why she's telling you this.
In the age of him, she wished she was 30 and made coffee every morning in a French press. Afterwards, she only ate kids' cereal and couldn't sleep unless it was in her mother's bed. Then she dated boys who were her own age, with dartboards on the backs of their doors. She thought about how he said, since she was so wise beyond her years, everything had been above board. She wasn't sure.
I love that drum.
It's like a drum, like...
No, it's actually a lot, because what word does it come in on?
She wasn't sure.
It is on shore.
It's in between the wasn't and the shore. That's really interesting.
And that is kind of the flipping point of the song, is her saying she wasn't sure if that was...
Yeah. He actually kind
like
of, in her storytelling in this song, she actually paints him out to be more problematic sort of as the verses go on. And I think that it's the realization that there actually is something wrong here that does flip it in her mind. And that's where that beat comes in, and it does shift.
It's like something dropping over you, like sonically. It's just like, like a veil being lifted.
Yeah. So interesting.
This verse is really interesting, because I have heard a lot of fans theorize that they think that in this verse she's talking about John Mayer instead of Jake
I think that's something we actually discussed maybe in our first reaction too. We were like, and I think that makes sense, because I think even like the made coffee every morning in a French press, it reminds me of lyrics in Foolish One and stuff.
It is, in Foolish One. What does she say? Over coffee every morning while watching
the news. Yes. But I do think that this works really well for Jake Gyllenhaal, because we do know that there was quite a big age gap between them. And this obviously happened after John Mayer. And she has revisited the John Mayer story, obviously, with a song like Would've, Could've, Should've. And we've gotten to know how she feels about that with hindsight. But we kind of haven't explored that with Jake. And so it makes sense to me that she's exploring that here. And particularly in relation to revisiting All Too Well with the short film and stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
So she says, in the age of him, she wished she was 30 and made coffee every morning in a French press. I mean, to me, this really spells out that age gap and the fact that he maybe did kind of see her as a kid or didn't really take her seriously. And she feels like the only way that he would take her seriously is if she was older.
Yep. Having coffee, French press coffee. Like, she wanted to be more mature, to be like him, to fit in with him, to feel like she belonged in her life.
Yeah.
And I love the way she says, in the age of him.
Yeah.
Because we're obviously talking about age here. We're talking about the age gap, but that's her saying, like, in the time of him. Like,
it's almost like another word for error.
Like
in the era of him, because red is an error.
In that time that we were together, I wished I was 30. And once again, she's still saying she. She's talking about herself from
in the
this
third
distance.
person. Yeah.
Like her past self as well, right?
Yeah. The Red re-recording obviously gave us vault tracks that do explore how silly she felt in the face of their age gap. It's obviously something that she explores more in the new lyrics of All Too Well, the 10-minute version. but also in songs like I Bet You Think About Me. So I love that this is something she's continuing with this further hindsight.
And afterwards, she only ate kids' cereal and couldn't sleep unless it was in her mother's bed. That regression of coming back to her age, but also even an age younger than herself after that heartbreak. Like, it was harder to be self-sufficient after she had tried so hard to be with him.
You're right. That oh God, the way that she does that juxtaposition between the two ages is amazing. And you're right. It's like it is a regression into a younger age than she was at the time, but I think it does still emphasize the fact that she was such a young girl with such limited life and relationship experience that the only way that she knew to deal with a heartbreak of that magnitude was to go and sleep next to her mother every night. Like she, you know, I think that as you move through different relationships in your life, you grow up and you go, okay, I'm upset and I am heartbroken. And I think Torture Poets as an album shows this. It's like, I'm devastated, but I still know how to do it with a broken heart. She's telling us here that she actually couldn't do anything. She couldn't even sleep. She couldn't eat properly. She was given cereal out of a box and had to stay with her mother. She couldn't do it with a broken heart back then because she was too young.
Then she dated boys who were her own age with dartboards on the backs of their doors. I find this lyric so interesting because the dartboards, I think you can take a lot from it, but I personally take and have always kind of had this image that she's talking about someone like Harry Styles here, because when she says dartboards, like they have a target on them as well, like they're both under the fame spotlight.
That's interesting.
But I think it's an interesting lyric with dartboards on the backs of their doors. It could also just be alluding to a young kind of room, a college kind of room or something where it's a bit more carefree and lighter.
Yeah, and I think that it's interesting what you say about like the fame thing, because that actually does also make a lot of sense. But I think I have always taken it, it's like she's trying to emphasize to us that she's gone from somebody who she viewed as an older, wiser man who she really respected, to a boy who lives in a share house and the way he decorates his bedroom is with a dartboard on his door. Like there's such a contrast between like a man with $1 million couch and his fucking organic shoes
and his French
and a boy with a dartboard in his bedroom. Like and the fact that she's had a taste of what it's like to be with an older man maybe made her feel like this feels weird to be dating boys my own age, almost like I feel too mature for you now because I've had a taste of what it feels like to be with a real man in the way that she perceived him.
And I guess that next lyric touches on her wisdom, so that makes sense. She thought about how he said, since she was so wise beyond her years, everything had been above board. So that nice kind of comparison to how she felt the dartboards and the young boys. Because he looked at her and thought she was so wise. She was obviously feeling a bit out of place dating boys her own age because of her wisdom.
You're right. She's kind of saying that like she is actually wise, or was at that age, wise beyond her years. She knows that about herself. She's a very mature young lady to the point that it doesn't feel right to date boys her own age because they're not mentally progressed to the same level that she is as a 22-year-old or whatever. But it also makes her reflect on the fact that it's kind of weird and creepy that he actually said that to her. So it really, that one lyric tells us a lot, doesn't it?
And I think it's a common thing that older men say to younger women, but you're different because you're so smart, you're so wise beyond your years. Of course you want to date me. Like you couldn't date a man your own age.
But the choice of the words, everything had been above board, is really interesting because it kind of, in my mind, it's almost like everything had been legal in a way. It's like she wasn't technically underage when she dated Jake Gyllenhaal, but she was young enough that it's like maybe people could have asked questions about it.
And
he's sort of saying it's fine. It's fine.
He's making
it's fine for me to date a girl that's fucking 12 years my junior when I'm already in my 30s. Because you're so wise, don't worry about it. But it's actually fucking predatory.
It is.
Which is why she ends it with, she wasn't sure.
I love that choice of words. She's still like, but she wasn't sure. It felt wrong for her. Something felt off about that. But she didn't know yet. She hadn't learnt yet what that would feel like, especially now that she's that age and she can reflect on how
Yeah.
fucked it was for both of those
Yeah.
men, John Mayer or Jake, to date her in their 30s. She wasn't sure. Girlie
sure.
didn't feel good.
No.
But now she knows it actually wasn't okay. It's such an interesting song.
It is an interesting song.
What the fuck?
It really is just...
Now we just go into the bridge and it's not talking about the relationship at all
No.
anymore.
I actually don't think I'm ever going to get over the way that this song is structured.
Yes,
and the
so-
things that she chooses to bring up and how she's telling this story. It is so fascinating and different from anything she's ever
Yeah.
written before. It's actually just so fucked up. I'm so
Bridge
concerned.
is the best part though.
The bridge is the best part.
The swelling that happens musically in this bridge just transports you to another
Yeah.
place. It's so emotional.
Yeah.
Because this is the bit that matters. This is
Yeah.
the bit that matters. This is what it's all been for.
Yeah.
We're building, slowly building. Oh, the violin.
And the years passed like scenes of a show. The professor said to write what you know. Looking backwards might be the only way to move forward. Then the actors were hitting their marks, and the slow dance was alight with the sparks, and the tears fell in synchronicity with the score. And at last she knew what the agony had been for.
Oh my god, that's the fucking lyric.
Oh my
right
god.
there.
No, it literally completely changes pace as she starts singing. Because the whole thing is boom, boom, boom. And then it's like, and the years pass. And there's actually like,
on a show.
it's
You get all of this
crazy.
crazy imagery happening. Because we're no longer talking about the relationship at all, really.
Yeah.
We're talking about her life.
Yeah.
We're talking about what she did with that heartache, what art she created with that heartache. And it's so beautiful.
yeah.
I also just want to highlight before we start talking about this bridge how interesting it is how this whole ending is really highlighting the storytelling in like a director kind of way, like
Yes,
a show,
yes.
movie.
Yes. And like
And
her
then-
being the director of the All
Yes.
Too Well short film.
Totally. And just
Yeah.
like the fact that she's mentioned transitioning into
Yeah.
into directing, and this is the last song on her last album. I think that that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And it also being called the Manuscript, which is obviously something that also happens for films.
Totally. Yes, absolutely.
It's very
So true.
intriguement
Yeah, it
about
is.
what's coming next.
It does kind of make you wonder, like, is this an Easter egg for her doing her film soon?
Yeah, like, is this the most obvious Easter egg that
Yeah.
like, her film's next?
It definitely could be, and it's something that we're not talking about a lot, but
Everyone's waiting for Rep TV, everyone's waiting for debut, everyone's waiting for TS12. What if the next announcement is her fucking
actually her
film's
film.
actually done and she's done it
Yeah.
all secretly?
oh my god, if she has done that, I'm actually like, bitch, when? When did you have time?
That's not possible.
When did you have time? And the years passed like scenes of a show. The professor said to write what you know. Looking backwards might be the only way to move forward. I think that, as you said, she is kind of like, it's not about the relationship anymore, but in some way, the professor could be like a therapist or something. And it's like, actually, maybe you do need to look back to move forward kind of thing. And maybe that could be a discussion about this specific relationship with Jake or whatever. But I do think, again, it's so interesting to me that this song is actually the album closer for Tortured Poets, because I think these lyrics are also actually a reminder to herself that the only way for her to move forward is to look back. And that's kind of what she's done with this album. She's written about it. She told us on the Eras tour that writing Tortured Poets was like a life raft for her, that she needed it more than she needed any other album
Yes.
before. It's like a lesson she learnt at the Red era time,
and
that she's
applying it.
applying at Tortured Poets time,
Completely
and that's
agree.
that connection.
That's the connection.
is so
had
fucked
to process
up.
it. Yeah,
No.
she had to write about
She
it.
know she that's why this song is also so healing for the relationship that she's discussing in Torture Poets, even though there is not one reference to Maddie Healy on this song
You're
whatsoever.
right.
Because you know she's linking it back to
Yeah.
the pain she felt when writing this album.
Absolutely. And they had a similarity about how they treated her or how
Yes.
they coaxed her
Yes.
and tricked her.
Yes.
It's so fucking superior. And I think that's what makes this bridge so emotional, is because it's almost triumphant.
It is triumphant. Yeah, you're right.
It's like I've done it, I did
done
it,
it.
and I'm doing it again, and
Yeah.
this is what matters.
Yes.
This is what matters.
Yes.
Oh my God.
No, it's a lot. Can I also just say on that line, though, that I do think we need to simply bring up the fact that obviously she's also been doing this re-recording process, which is, you know, the only reason this song exists, obviously, because of the All Too Well short film. But, like, we've spoken so much about how revisiting those previous albums must have been so healing and so therapeutic for her. And so not only could she have written Red from this perspective, like, you know, look back on the relationship, write about it to move forward, but also re-recording Red and the other albums as well is looking back to move
Yes,
forward.
it is.
And then also writing Torture
Yes.
Poets is looking back to move forward. So there's like layers to it.
I also love that she says the professor, because I wonder if that has any kind of link to the imagery that she's created on Torture Poets with the chairman and the board, and like
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
she's kind of telling, she's gotten orders to write this album, you know, from the board of the Torture Poets department.
Could be Jack Antonoff. Jack Antonoff might be the,
the professor.
It's like, babe,
Yes.
go and write about it.
And I think because we're talking about the manuscript and writing and poetry, like all of those things, it makes sense that the professor is the guiding light in this story.
Yeah. It's like a light bulb moment. Like, oh, wow, I could do that and feel
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
And then she just keeps doing
write
it
what
because
you
she
know.
knows it works.
Yeah.
No, it's fucked
I
up.
also just love her starting with the years past, like scenes of a show, because I think that she's comparing the manuscript to like her songwriting process, and now like the scenes of the show to maybe her albums and other songs.
Yeah,
it's
the
like
eras.
it kept going, like scenes of a show. You like, she just kept making art, and all of these different eras happened.
Yeah, and she's immortalizing
Because-
them like they are a show
Like
that
they're
you should go back and
shows.
watch, because we do. We go back and listen to
Totally.
her albums all the time.
Absolutely. We always compare her songs and her albums to like books and things
Yeah.
that just have this constant theme of stories that connect back to each other. And I love that I feels like she's kind of acknowledging that here and kind of
Totally.
tying that all together for us as well. I just love
Yeah,
that.
so true. I completely agree.
And the next bit, that energy lifts one more time as well.
Yeah.
And the actors, we're hitting their marks. Everything feels like it's working here. Like it's all
Yes.
coming together, like that feeling, that energy of the director. What she explained when she was making
Yeah.
the film for the All Too Well 10 film. It's like everything was just working. She loved Sadie and Dylan, their magic. Her story was coming alive right in front of her eyes.
Yeah.
And she loved that.
Yes. And for her to have witnessed that happening so many years after the actual relationship that she was in, and so much processing taking place, and maybe having a lot of this hindsight already going into it, it does kind of create that separation between the character of herself and who she actually is.
What she actually experienced.
Which is also kind of what she's doing in this song by referring to herself as she instead of me
Yes.
or I or whatever.
Yes.
It's like I'm seeing the actors hitting their mark. The actors are playing this out like she is a different person than me. And this story and this film is so beautiful that it makes it all worth it.
It does. It's like she can finally have that moment of like, oh, this is what I made
Yeah,
from that.
it's like that was so torturous to experience, but
Wow.
knowing that I've made something so beautiful out of that pain is superior.
It's superior. And I love to think about as well what All Too Well became for her because of the fans' love for
Yes.
it. Something that was so painful to play, painful to even finish, became one of her legacies, and something that brings, it's not about him anymore. It's about the fact
Yeah.
that that's one of her best songs ever. It's the fact that she felt seen by everyone loving that song so much. I think that that was
Totally.
such a pivotal part of her career, for her to think, oh, I wrote this song that I think is really vulnerable and really scary, and for it to be received with such love she felt like we had her at that point.
Absolutely. It really has been such a progression for her, because this is something that she spoke about publicly even before we knew that she was going to ever re-record her albums. I mean, we know that she performed it at her Tiny Desk performance during the Lover era. But even before that, she had kind of been talking about how All Too Well is a song that had really changed for her. And so to have that part of her story, like, and the difference in that song be happening then, and then also having to revisit it later to re-record, it's like there's been such a progression for her.
Right? And the tears fell in synchronicity with the score. Oh, I love that, because the score is All Too Well.
Yeah, no, it's actually not okay. But then the score being like the music that's for a film and all of that, like again with that director's angle and the film angle, like it's the perfect word to use, even though the score is her own song.
Yeah, she's not saying it fell with the song.
No,
it's really
the score.
Interesting, really interesting wording.
It is.
That
but
makes
perfect for this when we're actually reflecting on the short film.
Absolutely, and that she's called it the manuscript.
Yeah. And then, yes, this perfect last line.
At last, she knew what the agony had been for. Oh my God. Has there ever been a more perfect lyric?
No. That's it.
It's all worth it.
Yeah.
Because I get to make these songs and this art.
Yeah.
And you receive it in the way that you do. And you turn it into something else, which is what she goes on to end the song.
Yeah. There has just been so many times, so many lyrics, and she consistently does it, where she's just telling us over and over and over again, I could not survive without doing this.
Yeah.
Like, this songwriting and being a public figure and making people feel seen through her own storytelling is so important to her own well-being.
Yeah.
And the fact that she keeps telling us that is so fucked up to me. I just love that she keeps reminding herself and us of that fact, because it just makes me so sure that she's never going anywhere.
I completely agree. People that are like, oh, Taylor's got another album left and then she'll disappear. I mean, it's like, do you not understand yet that
Have you not heard her?
she literally can't live without writing songs?
At last, she knew what the agony has been for. The agony, any agony that she experiences in her life.
Yeah. Isn't that so perfect coming on the album The Tortured Poets department?
Yes. So true. Holy fuck.
That's what that link is as well.
Yes.
She
oh my God.
is the tortured poet. This is what the agony is for.
Yes. Yes!
Music!
Oh my God, that's a fucked up thing for you to
It is
say.
a fucked up thing. I only just...
The only thing that's left is the manuscript. One last souvenir from my trip to your shores. Now and then I reread the manuscript, but the story isn't mine anymore.
to me. Yeah. I cannot believe she ends the song saying that, because it's just too offensive for her to essentially present the music to us and say that it is now
yours.
What do you mean she did that at the end of this song?
And I do love that even if none of the re-recordings or anything had ever happened, just the fact alone that she had already told us that All Too Well had completely changed for her because of how much fans loved it, already is enough for her to have probably said something like, it's not mine anymore, because it doesn't hold that emotion anymore. It's about my fans. It's about how they connect with it and how I can connect with them through that.
Yes, what they've kind of turned it into.
Yes.
What that story has become once giving it to them, which is why the manuscript is hers, because it's that draft and those original thoughts and feelings. But once she turns it into the art, it's not hers anymore.
Yeah.
And that flip to I reread the manuscript, whereas the beginning one was she, and now she's revealing that it is her.
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it? Because she's revealing that it was her the whole time. But by saying the story isn't mine anymore, it actually kind of perfectly links us back to the beginning of the song.
Yeah.
Because obviously she's going to tell the entire story in the third person when she doesn't feel like it's hers anymore. But it is still her story? No, it's actually fucked up. It's also a lot to think about the fact that, like, as a songwriter and a storyteller, she is immortalizing certain experiences in maybe a somewhat fictional way. Like, not every single thing that she writes has to be actually something that happened for the overall story to still be quite true for her. And so, or even because she doesn't feel that way anymore, how can it be my story?
Yeah.
Like the feeling has changed so much.
Well,
that it's just immortalized. It's a moment in time, but it's not mine because I don't feel like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's so much you can take from that lyric, because not only does she write these stories and then share them to the world, but I think also the fans change them as soon as they get a hold of them.
Yes.
So as soon as she puts out an album or a song, we apply so much to it that is then part of her lore and part of her story and part of her album, you know,
Yeah.
like the fans change it. And I think that that's what's so beautiful about it in a way, is a lot of the times I think we change it for her in a good way, so that she can re-interact with those songs in a different way and have
just
a different
see
meaning
it
to them.
She can actually probably better see it through the lens of like, wow, this was a really good song that was written, and she's not necessarily seeing it through her own emotional lens anymore.
Or how other people relate to it, or what other people feel when they listen to it. Like, there's so many layers to that. And I think it's such a beautiful way to end this song and this album, because I think what she's saying there is like, that I gave that song to you and you made it what it was, but I'm also giving this album to you.
Yes.
And you will make it what you, and kind of that peace that she has with it, you will make it something else for me as well.
Yeah. Because you always do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is why it
Beautiful.
actually might be the best
It's beautiful.
outro that she's... Outro?
Album closer.
Album closer she's ever written.
Well, because she's kind of acknowledging that connection in a way.
She is.
And that's a really...
I think it's even
thing for her to do.
It's even fascinating thinking about the fact that we are sitting here having broken down every song and we are trying to retell her story, but we probably got half of it wrong.
Yeah,
there's so much we don't know, and there's so much we don't understand. And I mean, she could sit here and watch these breakdowns and be like, that is not right. But you still took something from it that is different from my story, and therefore that story isn't mine anymore because it's yours in your own unique way.
It is so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. And the way that she also ended the Eras tour with it, and the surprise song mashup.
Oh my God, I was like,
sorry,
what
that
are you
was
saying
that
to
was
me?
not obvious at first.
That's not okay.
Like, what the fuck did she do again?
It was Long Live,
Yeah.
The Manuscript, and...
New Year's Day.
Oh my God, it was New Year's Day. I was going to say, wasn't You're on Your Own Kid? Because that doesn't feel like it would work, but I don't think it was.
No, she didn't do You're on Your Own Kid on the last night,
she
which was
didn't.
interesting. But yeah, New Year's Day, like, please don't become a stranger. Long live all the memories we made. I had the time of my life fighting dragons with you. Don't talk to me about Long Live. Actually, don't. I can't actually talk about it. And now the story isn't mine anymore.
That's not okay.
No, we can't deal with Taylor saying those things to us.
That's not okay. That's not okay.
Look, it means so much. And I, like you said, when we first ranked these songs, we hadn't fully fathomed the Manuscript. And, you know, even though it's not going to ever be in my top 5, the meaning behind it is so special. And I never will not listen to that bridge and just feel so emotional, so proud of her, so grateful to be a part of her story and her experience, and for me to get to experience her story and all of the connections.
We are all thriving because we live on the same timeline as Taylor Swift.
We are.
And we get to enjoy all of her songs. And
Absolutely.
It's actually too much.
And I'm so glad that we got to break it down at this point as well, because I really feel like it's only fully clicked for me in the last week, the Manuscript, because I know it's been coming up, so I've really wanted to fathom it. And also a big shout out to Bray, because couch friend Bray, we got drunk on Saturday night and spoke about the Manuscript for 40 minutes, and I just had so many fathomings. It was really great. But I've had further fathomings with you today and you guys.
Yes.
And it's so special that she does this.
I know, it really is. It really, really is.
I can't believe she might make a movie one day. I just don't know what to do with that information.
We're all going to be beside ourselves the day that Taylor Swift's fucking movie comes out. Like, are you kidding? This woman is the gift that keeps on giving. We are so blessed.
We are so blessed. And we are also, obviously you guys know this because you've watched a lot of our videos by now, but we are the kind of Swifties that she just cannot do any wrong, in our opinion. So obviously the movie that she makes is going to be the best movie ever made.
Obviously.
Can't wait to watch that.
Obviously. Oh, because, well,
what is that movie going to be?
The Short Too Well is what I just said. The All Too Well short film is already the best movie I've ever seen. Well. So, you know, The Short Too Well.
Oh, guys.
Guys, this is the last one, and it's actually, this is also bittersweet.
Yeah. It's very bittersweet.
But we'll be here.
We'll be around.
We'll be breaking songs down for the rest of the time.
We will. Well, yeah, we're going to be entering a bit more of a reaction era, I think, for the next little while on YouTube, but we're always discussing things in great detail on our Patreon, so make sure you check that out. And guys, just a huge thank you for coming along this journey with us and just being here and listening to us rant about these songs and for giving us your insight. You've helped us so much in understanding the album better and just enjoying the album with you guys and having this space to talk about what we love so much. Like the fact that you guys even watch these videos is like sometimes just so mind-blowing to us.
It really is. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We love you guys so much, and we will see you soon for another video.
Yes. I was going to say just thank you, Taylor Swift, for giving us the Touch of Heart department.
Thank you so much, Taylor Swift. We love you so much.
Thank you, Scott, for the merch.
Thank you, Scott, for the merch.
Love you guys.
Love you all.
Bye.
Bye.